The Three Unspoken Words. Isabella was a young woman of remarkable beauty, with flowing chestnut hair, expressive eyes that sparkled with curiosity, and a smile that could light up even the darkest corners of any room. Yet, despite her outer beauty, she struggled with an inner battle, a battle with words. Words that she whispered to herself in moments of self-doubt, words that chipped away at her sense of worth. She would often catch herself thinking things like, "I am not enough," "I can't do this," and "I will never be loved." These were the three silent mantras that dominated her mind, despite the love and admiration she received from her friends and family. But as she navigated her 20s, Isabella realized that the path to self-acceptance was more than just external validation. It was about confronting these inner demons and rewriting the script she had been telling herself. Through the wisdom of ancient philosophers and the support of those who cared for her, she learned that the greatest obstacles are often the ones we create in our own minds. Chapter 1. The First Silent Word, I am not enough. Isabella's first silent mantra, I am not enough, stemmed from years of comparison. In a world that celebrated her outward appearance, Isabella often felt like there was more expected of her. She believed that her worth was tied to perfection, something she felt she could never attain. No matter how many compliments she received from friends, family, or strangers, she always dismissed them as shallow or unimportant. Philosopher Simone de Beauvoir, a champion of existentialism, would argue that Isabella's feelings of inadequacy stemmed from an external pressure to conform to society's expectations. According to de Beauvoir, women, like all individuals, must define themselves not by others' judgments, but by their own lived experiences. In The Second Sex, de Beauvoir writes, one is not born, but rather becomes a woman. In this sense, Isabella had the power to redefine what enough meant. It wasn't about meeting external standards, but about accepting her unique existence. Her friends, particularly Clara, a longtime confidant, often told her, Isabella, you are enough as you are, more than enough. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. Yet, Isabella could not quite accept this truth, as if her own self-image was incomplete. Chapter 2. The Second Silent Word, I can't do this. The second phrase that Isabella clung to was, I can't do this. In moments of difficulty, whether facing a challenging project at work or navigating a tough conversation with her parents, Isabella was quick to doubt her abilities. She had always been a perfectionist, and the thought of failing terrified her. René Descartes, in his famous statement cogito, ergo sum, I think, therefore I am, emphasized the power of the mind to shape reality. Descartes believed that through reason and introspection, an individual could rise above self-doubt. His ideas suggested that if Isabella could change the way she perceived her capabilities, she could unlock a new sense of confidence. Furthermore, his rationalism encouraged her to break down tasks into manageable pieces, eliminating the overwhelming fear of failure. Isabella's older brother, James, who was always a voice of reason in her life, shared his own experiences. Isabella, I fail all the time, but I keep going. Failure isn't the end. It's just part of the process. Over time, Isabella began to realize that failure was not a reflection of her inadequacy, but an essential part of growth. Slowly, the words, I can't do this, began to lose their power. Chapter 3. The Third Silent Word, I will never be loved. The final silent phrase, I will never be loved, was the most painful of all. Despite her many relationships, Isabella couldn't shake the belief that her beauty might only be skin-deep and that people might not truly love her for who she was inside. She feared that no one would ever understand her, and that love, in its truest form, would always elude her. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus would have advised her to focus not on the things she couldn't control, like the actions or feelings of others, but on the things within her power, like cultivating self-love and inner peace. In his discourses, Epictetus reminds us that our happiness is determined not by external circumstances, but by how we choose to respond to them. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Isabella's fear of being unloved stemmed from the belief that love was something to be earned, rather than something that could be freely given and received. Her best friend, Sophia, was always there to remind her, "Isabella, you are loved by me, by mom and dad, and by so many others. Your beauty is just one part of who you are. It's your heart and your kindness that people are drawn to." Chapter 4. The Path to Transformation. The journey to self-acceptance wasn't easy. Isabella often felt tempted to fall back into her old ways of thinking. But as she began to internalize the wisdom of the philosophers, who emphasized the importance of self-reflection, rational thought, and embracing one's own humanity, she gradually started to change her narrative. She stopped comparing herself to others and focused on her personal growth. She began taking risks, stepping into new challenges with the belief that she had the power to succeed, even if she stumbled along the way. And most importantly, she started to believe that love wasn't a distant dream. It was something she could both give and receive, freely and without fear. Her family and friends began to notice the shift in her. Isabella was no longer the woman who hid behind self-doubt and insecurity. She became someone who embraced her imperfections, saw failure as an opportunity to grow, and allowed herself to feel worthy of love. The most significant change, though, was that Isabella learned to quiet the three most harmful words in her mind: "I am not enough," "I can't do this," and "I will never be loved." Conclusion: Isabella's transformation was not immediate, but it was profound. She realized that the greatest obstacles she had faced were the ones she had constructed in her own mind. By studying the wisdom of philosophers like Simone de Beauvoir, René Descartes, and Epictetus, she learned to question and challenge the limiting beliefs that had defined her. With the support of her family and friends, Isabella rewrote her internal narrative and, in doing so, discovered a deeper, more resilient version of herself. In the end, we learn that the words we tell ourselves can either build us up or break us down. Through introspection, wisdom, and the love of those who see us for who we truly are, we can transform the stories that shape our lives. Like Isabella, we all have the power to challenge our doubts, to see ourselves as enough, and to embrace the possibility of love and growth, both within ourselves and with others.